Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? What's going on, everybody out there in the On the Chain world? You know who you are. You guys out there that are watching and listening over on the podcast. Looking forward to spending the next hour with you guys because we have a lot of cool things to talk about. Ripple seems to be under pressure, or XRP, I should say, seems to be under pressure. Ripple is expanding institutions or expanding globally as institutions are embracing stablecoins. I'm jumbling this whole thing up.
Damn, Jeff.
So here's the question. Here's the question we want to dig through. Are stablecoins going to replace XRP? We talked about it a little bit over the past couple of shows, but it seems with more and more rollouts of the stablecoin and Ripple's embracing of the stablecoins and the institutions embracing of Ripple embracing, you get it, the stablecoins.
A lot of embracing
Where's the
going on.
place for all of the crypto? Who's embracing the crypto? Embrace it.
A lot of embracing going on. A lot of love fest. A giant
a
love
lot
fest.
of big hugs and all that. A lot of kumbaya circles.
Yeah.
And you know that thing. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk crypto and get ready because we're also going to talk about geopolitics.
Yeah. We are going to talk about that as well. Let's go.
We are. So we'll get offensive.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Good morning. Jim D's in here early today. Good to see that. Jim D's been late a little bit in the last couple episodes. That's okay though.
He has been
have him in here. Been late.
What if he's hanging out at the jazz club early?
Chad's never late. He's always the first one in here. Yeah, the jazz.
Do they have breakfast at the jazz club overlooking the beach? You know, it'd be really cool. Was cool in that. Where were we? Over in that Cape Canaveral area.
Yeah.
There was a pier not too far from where we were staying. And as you walk down the pier, there was a bar and there was a restaurant like midway down the pier. And at the very end of the pier, there was a bar.
There was a bar stool there with Jim D's name on it. It said Jim D on it.
It did. And I think that I saw a caricature hanging up above the bar stool.
Only evening shows. Only evening shows. Drop where you're coming in from, of course. We never have to ask Chad Nauseum, because he's always coming in from Celebration. Always greetings from Celebration.
Celebrate good
always
times.
In. Have a good show. Heading to the cemetery to plant flags. Pay my respects to those sacrificed everything. That's great, Mark.
It is Memorial Day weekend, and this is our time to remember all those who have sacrificed.
Yep, his favorite hanging out in the pier. Yeah, that's always a great thing. So very good. Very cool. So let's jump right into it. Again, let's what you teased at the top here. Reese Merrick, who is he's over there at the he's the senior executive officer, managing director of the Middle East and Africa at Ripple. And he kind of put these two things out. So this is interesting. So out of Europe, we've got two stable coins issued on the XRPL, two new ones anyway. And the first one is this one, the Schumann Financial, transitioning European finance on chain. They have a MiCA compliant a euro-backed stablecoin. And EuroP becomes the first MiCA compliant euro stablecoin on the XRP ledger. There you go. Key step towards compliant stablecoin adoption, enabling payments, tokenize real-world assets, and on-chain finance from Europe. And out of Brazil, we've got the Braza's new USD backed. So we got a euro backed, and now we got a USD backed out of Brazil. It's the USDB launching on the XRP ledger, giving individuals and institutions seamless and secure way to move value across borders. And again, Jeff, that plays into what you teased earlier is like, okay, if you're going to be using the stable coin to move across borders, what is XRP going to be used for?
Right. They're using the XRPL. One of the things that we've looked at this entire time is how critical the XRPL is for institution, for finance, for all the different things that are going to be required. All these other chains didn't really have it baked in. And so the XRPL stands head and shoulders above every other chain in terms of functionality. And, you know, it has a native DEX. There's so much that can be done with the XRPL. Plus, it keeps growing and developing. It can keep getting fine-tuned to facilitate, you know. And so as long as we have the validators on board and voting, you know, for compliant changes, But at this point, what we're seeing is the secure aspect and the functionality aspect for stable coins. And what are they choosing? They're not choosing, other chains. They're choosing the XRPL. And this is from an institution level. So this is, I think we're starting to see a massive trend rolling out. And I believe we're going to see probably, a lot more, and we're going to see, a lot more development and a lot more adoption. The question is what we're, going through. And I'd love to see some commentary on this as well to see what you guys think. Does XRP then still have a place in time within this financial infrastructure? Where does XRP fall in if the initial use cases for Ripple, anyways, how they were going to implement and utilize XRP, and they were proving the case. This isn't all about Ripple centric, because there's all sorts of companies around the world that have been orchestrating and building within the XRPL and XRP, trying to utilize it. But now that there's this new initiative and this new trend, where does XRP fit? Is it all going to be stablecoin? Do we need XRP at this point for any type of settlement or liquidity if you can get instant transfer? Do you still need XRP for that transfer, or is it seamlessly transferring through the XRPL? Because we don't need an exchange. We don't really need the DEX at this point. If we're building a USDB on the XRPL, and Chip, if you want to send me USDB, and now it's dollar backed, so it's not even in a Brazilian currency, and they want to transfer money from Brazil to the US, guess what? They move it to a US bank in USDB, and the bank's like, hey, that's backed by the US dollar. That's 1 for 1. I'm good with it. Yep, you're muted.
It's interesting that Brazil's taken that approach, because you would think that, to do a USD-backed stablecoin on the XRPL, it's great though. I think it's good. It's more dominance for for USD, which is good. So what Reese is saying here is with USDB and BBRL on the XRPL, Brazos creating a scalable bridge between traditional finance and crypto in Latin America. So that's really what it is. It's that financial bridge, which, and again, be able to move very quickly cross-border, which you don't have that issue. And it really does solve all the problems of any sort of volatility that you have with XRP. And even though it's pretty stable, we called it the best stable coin before the stable coin became available, because the price usually was pretty, but if you're moving in it, you're moving $10 million and it moves by 2 cents, it's catastrophic, right? If it drops by 2 or it moves, and this is where, you see stable coins. It's so funny. If you go to like CoinGecko or something like that, you'll see that it's 0.0999, and sometimes it just goes over $1 by a little bit. Like, I don't know what that's all about. It's pretty much stable. It's pretty much pegged one way or the other. Ripple went ahead and put 2 blog posts up on this, talking a little bit about it. The EuroP is fully euro-backed, redeemable stablecoin by Schumann Financial. This is interesting too, because it looks like a third party that licenses. It's an EMT issuer regulated by the ACRP, and then it's also MiCA compliant too. But it says it's under the supervisory authority of the French central bank. So that's another really interesting thing, that the central bank of France is sort of like overseeing this. And then in addition, the EuroP reserves are regularly audited by KPMG, big auditing firm, well known, safeguarded at Europe's leading financial institutions, including Societe Generale, which is, this is, I think, most people's concerns really come down to this, the fact that, these audits, right? Are these audits, if you say it's backed by the euro, do you have the reserves there? You have a pretty reputable firm like KPMG that's doing the audits. It's being overseen by the French central bank. So you feel like there's some safeguards, and it's MiCA compliant as well. So you feel like there are some safeguards in there. It says it'll give Europe and the euro-dominated financial markets an integral infrastructure for the next wave of financial innovation. So they're doing over there kind of what we have with the USD over here, but having it in the euro itself. And what's interesting is this, it's really the first, putting the euro on the XRPL, which is great. And I expect to see a lot more. Now, with the new regulation coming on here in the United States, it did go ahead and pass the House, but again, once it gets to the Senate, they said there's going to be changes. And or is that, am I confusing that bill? Is that the right one? Did they say? I'm trying to think. No, I'm thinking of the big beautiful bill.
Right. Yeah.
The big beautiful bill. But the regulation on the stablecoin side of the house too is that there were some things that were standouts, especially, I saw a video the other day where it said that, Circle's not even going to be compliant with this new legislation that's rolling out in the United States. USDT is also not going to be compliant because it's outside the United States, although they regularly get audits too, and they're good, and supposedly the reserves are there, although there's been a lot of speculation that they have invested a lot into Bitcoin itself, and that could cause a potential issue. So says for Schumann Financial, it's the first step on the roadmap built around euro dominating payment use cases across the ecosystem, powering the euro leg of on-chain transactions. So it also says the EuroP on the XRP ledger demonstrates how stablecoins can meet the high standards set by MiCA while unlocking new possibilities for on-chain uses, such as payments, real-world tokenization assets, and the euro putting it places clear, supporting regulation, institutional adoption, accelerating the region, becoming a key market for stablecoin innovation. And then over here, we got the Brazil one. Brazil announcement here out of Sao Paulo. 15 years in operation, currently ranking 6th in Brazil's interbank operations, according to Basin. Brasa moved USD 1.079 billion in 24 hours this April. Interesting. Nearly BRL 6 billion transacted in the interbank market itself. The leading foreign exchange bank already includes another stablecoin in its portfolio, which is the BBRL, that was launched earlier in 2025. Both the BBRL and the USDB are issued on the XRPL. So it's the second one that they're putting on the XRPL, giving Brasa a unified scaling infrastructure to support the real world financial use cases. According to Marcelo Sacamori, the CEO of the Brasa Group, launching another digital assets, another way to foster new business models to add value to both the Latin America and global markets with USDB. Brazilian individuals and companies gain new alternatives to hedge against volatility and speed up their operations. So we are also committed to offering a stable coin that not only meets but exceeds the highest standards. So yeah, it seems like it'd be a good tool for business as well, especially if they want to put value, just stabilize whatever, put it in the USD, because the can be a little bit more volatile. The what's the native Brazilian? What is it called? Is it called the real? What is it? What is
the real?
Yeah. So
real. Yeah,
they're saying that this is also hedging against a little bit of inflation here by issuing both of them on the ledger. Both of these coins, the Brasa is helping lay the foundation to a more connected and efficient digital community in Brazil. So it's pretty good. I mean, second one, 2025. I mean, we're not even halfway through. They've already have two of those out there. So it's good developments to see what's happening in the XRPL. You see, there's a lot more adoption of the XRPL, obviously for the interoperability. And Jeff, you brought up the point that if they're going from USDT on this on the Brazil one, and they bring it and they send it here, it's an all intent and purpose. It's a stable coin and it is USD backed already. So there's really not much, nothing you have to do, nothing to convert. But if you wanted to go to US, take it out through US funds, or you wanted to put it into Bitcoin or whatever, that's where the XRPL really comes into play there.
That's right.
So we'll see. Again, we still have to get through the stablecoin legislation on our side, and that seems to be somewhat of a struggle still. I think there's still a little bit of a struggle. There was an interesting post by John Deaton here that I wanted to chat a little bit about. Thought we kind of workshop this one a little bit, but John floated the idea of who would be on your Bitcoin or your crypto Mount Rushmore. If there was a Mount Rushmore and you could have like 5 faces up there. And so he said that his crypto Mount Rushmore is comprised of 5 people, and at the very top, on a level of all of his or her or their own, is Satoshi Nakamoto. Under Satoshi's blank face will be 4 others. Who's your 4? And so the nominees he has up there: Vitalik Buterin, launched Ethereum. He's got Jed McCaleb, who's the co-founder of Ripple, XRP, and the XRPL, and founder of Stellar. He's got Joel Katz, better known as David Schwartz, Ripple CTO, former Bitcoin developer, helped create the XRPL, and was issued a patent for predating the advent of blockchain technology, a multi-level distributed computer system. He's got that patent. It was granted back in 1991. There you go. That's why some people say that, you know, he's got a lot more to do with Bitcoin than people let on. Describing a multi-level distributed computer system designed to divide tasks among a network of computers. Patent showcases the early contributions to the field of distributed computing, laying groundwork that resonates with modern decentralized systems. Charlie Lee, remember Charlie Lee? Litecoin, dumped his bags, got out.
Poor guy. Yeah,
probably living the best life ever. Living the best life ever, I'm guessing.
I know he is.
He created it, he dumped it, and we still see it on the bottom ticker of every American news broadcast. For some reason, he cemented that in play. When he dumped his bags, what were they, 300 or something like that? What do you remember?
It was so large. It was so big. It was amazing.
Remember that? Then like they were coming after him. He was like, "Well, he had some dumb excuse." Sergey Nazarov, founder of Chainlink. I don't even know who that is. There, who is that? Oh, Weidai proposed money. Oh crap. Nick Szabo created the BitGold, another Bitcoin predecessor, coined the term smart contracts in the 1990s. You had Adam Back, who invented Hashcash, proof of work system used in Bitcoin mining. You had Hal Finnery, who passed away a long time ago. Sometimes people said he was Satoshi Nakamoto. He was the first Bitcoin software Satoshi. He received the first Bitcoin transaction ever. Gavin Andreessen became Bitcoin's lead developer after Satoshi's exit, built the foundation of the Bitcoin core. Brian Armstrong co-founded Coinbase, the most widely used crypto exchange, the most widely hacked crypto exchange that has not returned all funds. Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, overseeing acquisitions of Hidden Road, Standard Custody and Trust, Metaco, RLUSD, so on and so forth. You had Jesse Powell, who is the co-founder and chairman of Kraken. You have Charles Hoskinson, who is the co-founder of Ethereum and founder of Cardano, ADA. Joe Lubin, who is a loser, co-founder of Ethereum and Consensus. I don't see Joe Lubin as anything. CZ did Binance. How much time did he serve in prison, Jeff? Was he in there for?
It was short, if at all.
Wasn't in there that long.
No.
Couple months maybe. Because I know I know he's out, and I know he's on this back on the circuit and stuff, but I don't think he's connected to Binance anymore, is he?
Let's see.
I know the CEO of SafeMoon got busted, and he's going to prison for a long time. Wasn't so safe, and it didn't moon, so it didn't work out so well.
Former CEO of Binance.
How long you went to prison for?
Let's see. He resigned in 2023. Let's open this up. Guy's worth a decent amount of money. He's born in 1977, that guy. He's from Jiangsu, China. He's got nationality of Canada and the UAE.
Yep. Paulo Arduino, he's the CEO of Tether.
He pleaded guilty to money laundering charge in the U.S., was sentenced to 4 months in prison in April of 2024, completed his sentence by September of the same year. He was ranked by Forbes the 24th richest person in the world, second richest Canadian overall, and has a net worth of $64.8 billion as of May of this year. On May 3rd, just recently, he was appointed as an advisor to the president of the Kyrgyz Republic. So that's kind of interesting. He's an advisor of some country. I don't even know what the Kyrgyzstan, which officially the Kyrgyz Republic is a landlocked country in Central Asia, lying in the Tian Shan and Pamir mountain ranges. Bishkek is the capital and the largest city. Kyrgyzstan is bordered by Kazakhstan to the north, Uzbekistan to the west, Tajikistan to the south, and China to the east and to the south. So he has gone from crypto to being an advisor to the president of this republic, which is kind of interesting. But it's also interesting, to see over his years. He actually grew up in Canada. Zhao helped support his family by holding down a number of service jobs, including working as a fast food clerk at a McDonald's restaurant and at a gas station. He went to McGill University, which is interesting, and he majored in computer science. Know a bunch of people that have gone to McGill. So that's his history. That is CZ. Interesting trip, yeah.
I'll tell you what, this guy Paulo Arduino, the CEO of Tether. If you look up the how much Tether makes on an annual basis, is insane. The amount of money, I think it's outpaced even Goldman Sachs. It's a huge thing. I saw something the other day. I think it might have been John Deaton that put something up, but I was just trying to find out while you were reading through that, Jeff, that they were audited by the U.S., but I don't see anything to that point, because I keep pulling up stuff that there's going to be an audit, and they're putting a new CFO in ahead of the audit. Supposedly, this article is from March, but I haven't been able to detect anything, because I also saw these like here Tether's like, yeah, trust me, I'm good for it. Tether. I've not seen anything on the Tether thing, on the side of things, so I don't know. Of course, Michael Saylor, Bitcoin's #1 bull, led the first large public company to adopt Bitcoin as a treasury reserve. You got Roger Ver, who was known as Bitcoin Jesus, first investor, and he's also running from the law. He's an outcast. Hopefully that he gets pardoned and comes back into the fold. Big Trump supporter as well. Free speech. Andreas Antonop, he's original Bitcoin disciple. Yeah, sorry, original Bitcoin disciple doesn't go on Mount Rushmore, Crypto Rushmore. I don't know. Something very weird is going on with Twitter right now. Nothing is like loading, nothing's searching. It's some kind of an outage. So you've got Jiwan Wu, co-founder of Bitmain. Of course, you have Jack Dorsey. Again, he has nothing. Elizabeth Stark, co-founder of Lightning Labs. Len Alden, respected microeconomist and Bitcoin analyst, followed for deep research in Bitcoin advocacy. Saif Dean, economist and author of the Bitcoin Standard, and Mahlers and Brock Pierce, and easily add Caitlin Long to the list, founder of Custodia Bank and key advocate for Bitcoin-friendly regulation. Makes sense to have two separate Mount Rushmores, a Bitcoin Mount Rushmore and a crypto Mount Rushmore. No, it does not make sense to do that, because that would be propagating the same BS as always. That's a dumb idea. The whole idea is dumb. And you know why? Because I weighed in on it. I talked about how dumb it was. There you go. So I said, sorry, Satoshi Nakamoto doesn't count because there's no face, there's no statue. And he did say that it would be faceless, but what do? You put a faceless thing up there? Sorry, man. It can't be identified. You don't belong in there. Sorry.
Yeah.
Still too early to crown the rest. Anyway, I'm not knocking the idea necessarily of Crypto Rushmore, but let's be real, Jeff. That's like carving Mount Rushmore 16 years after 1776. We're 16 years into this experiment, and now we're going to have a Mount Rushmore. I mean, can you imagine 16 years from 1776? I'm like, it's just too soon. It's like, you don't know how things are going to play out. And we don't even know where crypto's going. So it's like,
we have no idea.
I get where he's, it was just it was a fun idea. It was nothing really more than.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. There's not going to be any.
Not going to happen. So Zip Tips Crypto said, beyond stablecoins, which even those require XRP to be used to settle, because
it burns XRP.
They're still it's burning XRP in the background, little fraction of an XRP. Since XRP is the rail being used for every transaction, other utility that will be used is the tokenization of assets. Exactly. This is, and I'm glad you brought that up, like the UAE is doing with real estate. XRP IOV will move all finance and RWA's real world asset. So we are going to see the tokenization of real world assets. It's a really important move, and that's real world asset. Could be real estate, like Zip is bringing up with what's going on over the UAE. It could also be fractional share ownership of whatever. It could be, when they start tokenizing stock shares, then it's an easier move of fractional share ownership of that. I think we're starting to, we've seen fractional share ownership on different platforms over the years, but then, being able to truly own and possess that fractional share and be able to move it, quicker. And I think that's what we're going to see is the seamless movement of real world asset from person to person, party to party, without all the interference. So Chip, if I had fractional ownership of real estate and it's being hosted and backed, through the XRPL, and XRP is going to be the technology and the vehicle. And let's say I wanted to move it to you. I own real estate in the UAE. I now want to move it to you. It's tracked on the blockchain. We put together a contract. I move it to you. You now own it. And that's the end of it. It should be an easy transaction, documented, throughout history. So I love the direction that's going in. And I'm glad Zip brought that up, because yes, there still is, but we're not there yet. We're just starting to see the beginning parts of that.
We're not there. And Jim D said, speaking of faceless, Bearable Bull unmasked himself. Yeah, that went around the internet. Jeff and I got to spend a pretty good amount of time with the Bearable Bull when we were in Australia together. I got to know him pretty well. He's good. He's really a good dude. And it was great to see that. And I hammered him a little bit. So did Jeff. I was like, look, dude, how are you going to gain any trust in the community if you don't come out, as somebody, if you're totally anonymous? And one of the things I think that surprised me the most was, and speaking to him, he does not sound like somebody in his 20s. I thought he was probably late 30s, early 40s, but he's not even 30 yet. So he also made that acknowledgement. And I have talked to him, outside of, as well, the Bearable Bull. So he is a good dude, and he's got his head in the right place and his heart in the right place. And it was good to see him kind of come out and do a video and kind of show his face and take a different sort of approach with it. And his videos are always entertaining. I always enjoyed watching his videos. But again, when you spend time with somebody aside from outside the videos and you get to know them a little bit, you have discussions about life and about just, generalities. You get to know somebody on a different level. And he like I said, he's really, he's a good dude and total legend in the space. And it was kind of good to see that he kind of made that move. Kind of surprised me, kind of came out of nowhere, because when I asked him, I'm like, dude, what's with the get up, covering your face? This has got to be painful. Why are you doing all this? He goes, do you live life on your terms? And I said, I do. He goes, these are my terms. And I said, okay. So I was like glad to see that he changed up his terms.
Yep.
So,
well, it's important in this financial space. When you start talking the anonymity, it can be there to an extent, but at least, the face is the most important. So you got to come out, and we get a lot of the anonymity within the space. So yeah, I thought that was a really critical move overall. Hey, we're almost at the bottom of the hour. I just want to throw this up there. How many Yetis do we have? I haven't seen any Yetis.
We only have one in here, but there's something going on, dude. I don't know what's going on. Like nothing's loading on Twitter right now.
Well, hopefully we can. I'm going to play this, and maybe we'll
only have one Yeti.
One Yeti. I can't believe it. That's shocking.
Well, you have a pretty good chance to win, whoever that one person is.
Let's roll it, Chip. Let's roll it.
Roll it. Roll it. Go. Pull. Draw. Oh, now we got three. See, now people are jumping in.
That's how it goes. It's the FOMO. Fear of missing out.
They're jumping in. They're jumping
and the FUD. Okay, here we go. I'm going to roll this.
We're the badass yeti from the blue tribe. Word of the day, yeti. Hey, you got your Zaman wallet ready? Why? 'Cause this is gonna be epic. It's time to claim your legendary blue tribe yeti of the clan Titan. On the chain, badass battle made for legend. Claim yours or be forgotten. Badass Yetis on the chain.
Wow.
Bam.
Bam.
I like that
There it is.
transition. Goes from
Badass
male to-
Yeti. I love the Badass Yetis. That was some good stuff. Okay, see, now we've got 9. So you got a 1 in 9 chance of winning. See how that works, Jeff?
That's right.
So
And
rigged and rugged.
Justin rigged and
What do you
rugged.
mean, Justin? Your girl won last time. Justin never wins though, but his girl was already got. He gave her. Well, he won, and then he gave her the Badass Yeti because it was super cute, and now she won the land. So it's very cool. So you know
What
the crypto
music
minute.
genre is this?
It's called Yeti Polka music.
Yeti Polka.
Viking Yeti Polka.
Yeti Polka.
It's a new genre. We're inventing new genres all the time around here. So Brad Garlinghouse, you know the crypto minute, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that Garlinghouse is, since they rolled that out a couple years ago, he's never done a crypto minute. Like everyone in the company has done it except for him.
That's right.
And you can hear there's a little bit miffed in the very beginning of this, but Brad Garlinghouse did his very first Ripple crypto minute, and here it is.
Definitely hurt, but also excited that I was overlooked for years before being on here, but now here I am. Hi, I'm Brad Garlinghouse. This is Crypto in 1 minute. 1 minute on why are people excited about crypto ETFs. I think there's 2 main factors going on here. One is, for the longest time, institutional investors primarily trading on Wall Street really haven't been able to access crypto directly. Their options were to either self-custody, onboard with an exchange, and some people don't like centralized exchanges for a whole host of reasons. So this was really the first time you had institutions be able to go on Wall Street and trade directly in crypto. This is an unlock for a couple reasons. For capital that couldn't come in, whether it's an endowment, whether it's a pension fund, even mutual funds that didn't or couldn't access crypto, now they can. The second thing is, it really is institutionalizing the entire industry of crypto. I think it should be no surprise that the Bitcoin ETF was the fastest ETF ever to get to $1 billion in assets. I think it passed 10 billion in assets faster than anyone as well. And today is, I think, will eventually close in on the gold ETF, and that's in 1 minute.
Wow. Bam, look at that.
How long did that take to get that 1 minute?
That was awesome. That was awesome. I love it.
It's pretty good. I like that they're succinct, because you have to, those are the 2 big reasons. And you brought up a good point too, that because you say like in a 401k and your pension fund, all this stuff, it's like, well, no, we don't have crypto, but see an ETF, now you have that access. So ETFs that do play a good part, and will get more adoption by the Fidelities of the world, which is a really good thing, and it gives people another option to park money, that was a very good point that he brought up there. But I think he probably had to do that a couple times. Because Garlinghouse is smooth as hell, and he tripped up a couple times in that thing because he was hurt. Because he was when he said
definitely hurt, but also excited.
Definitely hurt, but a little excited.
Hurt, but a little excited. That's a nice clip.
And Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who's been tearing it up lately, this guy is like iron. Like you can't shake him. He's an immovable object. They come at him. He's got one speed. His one speed is just, oh yeah, man. Yeah. Justin said he totaled his car 3 nights ago, been struggling back to lifting, but forcing himself to do it this morning. Well, Justin, man,
he said he had hurt his wrist the other day.
Yeah, you said you hurt your wrist, which is probably
compact. How's your wrist? Yeah, you got to make sure you're protected.
You don't want to stress that, dude. Yeah. So what's going on with the car? I guess you got to get the insurance involved and everything else, and I guess it depends on how it got totaled. Somebody hit you or whatever happened, but it doesn't take a lot to total a car. My youngest had a accident 2 years ago, and the car got totaled. And once that frame gets bent, once you have some structural damage, you just can't come back from it. You can't.
No, then it's done.
You can't fix it. And so again, she totaled her car, and it's like, and unfortunately, sometimes you get left with holding the bag because depending on, if you own the car outright, can you replace it for the money they're going to give you? If you were making payments on it, same sort of scenario where the money you owed and can you replace at least what you had? And a lot of times it turns out you sometimes can't. You know, when we got the money from the insurance company, it was like, could you have replaced the same exact vehicle in the same type of vehicle? Not really, based on the insurance money. So that's, you know, there's always that bit of it. But
that's always tough. My next door neighbors last week, they came home, the entire side of their car was destroyed. So what had happened, the driver's side, they were heading south from Boca on I-95. Somebody with out-of-state plates came in for whatever reason, merged into their lane, sideswiped them out from the back all the way to the front of the car, destroyed, you know, messed up, like really destroyed the side of the car, and then he took off. Then he was
hit and run
on the freeway while you're driving on 95.
Wait, somebody swiped the whole car and just kept driving?
And kept driving.
Nobody got the license plate? Nothing?
So what had happened, so they ended up navigating. They got off at the next exit or an exit after. Like 20 minutes later, you know, they were waiting. The police were there. They're like filing the report. A woman comes around in her Escalade and she goes, I saw the entire thing. I followed the guy. I took a picture of his license plate. She goes, but she goes, then she goes, but I didn't know what exit you guys got off at. So I've been getting off at different exits, hoping I would run into you.
So what a nice person.
Can you believe it? Yeah. So she captured the whole thing.
Oh God, that's fantastic. Did she have it on the camera?
Video of it. Yeah, she got it on the camera, got video, got picture of it. And then and so they just got their car back yesterday and the whole car is fixed. Like it was amazing.
So
like,
what ended up happening to the person they tracked down? I mean, did they get them for
I don't know. I didn't get that. They haven't got that information. Yeah, but I mean, can you imagine? But the guys had out of state Pennsylvania plates. So completely out of state. So who knows if he left right after, you know, whatever the situation might be, but just crazy.
Who knows?
Look at Justin.
Oh yeah, it was liability insurance. Shake my head. It was an 04 Alero with 221,000 miles.
Wow.
Well, there you go, man. It was
221,000
miles and it was still working.
That's
all right,
impressive.
man.
That's impressive. Look at this. If you take the insurance company to court, you'll get full payment, but most people don't do this. They just take the cash. Yeah, I think that's a good point, you know, because at some point, someone's insurance company is liable and responsible to help with that coverage. You know, Florida, no fault, you know, definitely an issue. But at the same time, I've had scenarios. I remember I had my car came out to the parking lot and someone had sideswiped my car in the parking lot. Same thing. You call your insurance company, no deductible. That was in Michigan. Another time I had my convertible Saab. I was in a parking structure. Stupidly, my fault. I decided I had to close my top in the parking structure. I didn't think about the height of how high up the top went. So it came and I knew as soon as I hit the button, it was too late and it frayed the entire front of the convertible top. Called my insurance company and they're like, yeah, shit happens. And I ended up getting it repaired. It was like an $8,000 repair or whatever it was. But again, they covered it. So there's like scenarios like that's the purpose. You know, insurance is supposed to be there to be helpful. You know, it's so crazy. You know,
we have 11 Yetis.
Crazy. Okay, here we go.
He says he sent the Jeff's he sent the pics to you. Yeah, for some reason there's something going on with Twitter, man. I can't. My DMs have been locked or something. So go ahead and pull up the photos there, man.
Let me see.
DM them.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, it says something went wrong.
Yeah, see, there's something weird.
I can't even log into Twitter.
No, I'm glad that I pulled all these up because I can't pull anything up on Twitter right now. It's
great. No, there's something wrong with it.
There's something going on with it. So we'll get to that.
Let me see if I can get to messages. I can get to messages though.
Yeah, so we can get there.
Holy shit. Holy what? Let me see if I can open these. Hang on a minute.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'm going to play this clip by Scott Bessent. He's talking about digital assets, and it's interesting what he says here. Let's listen in.
Look at that.
Going big on digital assets. So Trump administration has made digital assets a priority. Past administration starved and almost made extinct a lot of these companies and pushed it offshore. So what we want to do is apply the highest U.S. regulatory and AML standards to digital assets, especially stablecoins. And I've seen estimates that just over the short term, stablecoins could create $2 trillion of demand for U.S. Treasuries and Treasury bills. To put that in context, the number is probably about $300 billion right now.
So you can see a little dig you got in there, because the last administration tried to make these companies go extinct, and they moved it all offshore. So it was nice that he was, basically pointing out the contrast, because people always want to say, well, what are you doing? Well, we're doing something very different than the previous administration. So it was good to hear that. You got those pics there, Jeff?
Yeah, look at this. This is crazy.
Ooh. Damn.
But that's the front windshield too. Front windshield's out.
Well, they got the airbag
went off. Just demolished.
Yeah, that thing got
Man,
hit, man.
you're so lucky you walked away from that with just a wrist issue.
Yeah.
The wrist is because you're holding the steering wheel. Probably the jarring of the steering wheel, or potentially from the airbag.
Damn.
Man, that's crazy.
Totaled. Just like that. 221,000 miles. It served well. It did its job.
It protected him. And it protected him in the time of need.
That's right.
The
airbag went off, and if you only had a wrist thing, you're super lucky to be, because man, that could have been more cut out. Oh, there you go. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Bam.
That impact right there. Hold the tire.
Yeah, the tire's all bashed in, frame's all bent. Man. There it is. Walked away from that. It's a blessing, man. You just gotta rehab that wrist, and you'll be, getting back to it. Getting back to it. Look at Jackie's in here. Got the Yeti going on. So we got 15 in here right now. You got a 1 in 15 chance. Almost not late.
It was almost not late, but he was.
You're close, but not almost not late. Almost. How do you mean almost not late? We can't really say much, Jeff, because we're almost always late. So
I think that the windshields are meant to pop out, from a safety perspective also.
Yeah.
I think they are. And so maybe not in all cars. I know that back in the day in the VWs, they were made to pop out, and like in the VW Bug, if you had an impact, because obviously if you go head first into your windshield, you're going to have a problem.
Yeah.
So if you go head first out of your open area, when I was 5, I probably told the story before. My mother had a Volkswagen Bug, and the tires blew out. We're driving from Arizona to California. Obviously no seatbelts, because who wore seatbelts back then? I was in the way back. So I was in the car. She went flying out the front windshield. The windshield popped out. She left the vehicle, and the car flipped 3 times. And I was inside the vehicle as it flipped over 3 times. But I was in the way back. I wasn't even in the seat. I was in the storage area behind the back seat, because that's where I would go and hang out and play. And so I got that. Probably was what saved me, because it kept me contained in the vehicle. And then, she went flying out. She was in the hospital for a long time, because she ended up going headfirst into a wall and fractured the clavicle and femur, and was really messed up for a while.
Must have been totally lost after that, trying to figure out what happened after that accident.
That was crazy. That was insane. But
yikes.
But that was the purpose of the windshield.
Well, I don't know, man. The purpose of the seatbelts is to keep you in the car. That's the purpose.
Right.
That's the purpose of the seatbelts. I mean,
See,
there you go.
That was pre-seatbelts.
There's lucky Jen Moore. There she is, right there. Yeti. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and I wanted to transition a little bit more into the geopolitics world, but I wanted to get into this past hearing that happened. We have one of our favorite senators, Senator Kennedy, who usually has some witty one-liners, but he's actually at a loss for words in this clip here. But it seems to be so much fraud, and everywhere you look, that you can't almost identify all of it that's been happening. But this is something that just wasn't even on my radar, and I just happened to come across this clip. But let's watch this. This is pretty insane stuff here.
The 76-day period you're talking about, That's the period between the time that President Trump was elected and President Biden left office. Is that right?
That is correct.
During that short period of time, 76 days, how much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy?
From the Loan Program Office in loans and commitments, $93 billion. Well over twice as much as in the previous 15 years. There was lots.
Jeff, let's break that down. $93 billion went out, and the 76 days between when Trump was elected and he actually took office, $93 billion, which is more than the previous 15 years. Okay? Something seems a little all of a sudden my guard's like, oh, well, that doesn't seem right all of a sudden, right? So that's a little bit insane.
Who's paying attention?
There was lots of funds that have gone out the door and commitments that were made from businesses that provided no business plan, no numbers about their own financial solvency or how this project
So you're telling me that the Department of Energy, in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
Correct. I've come in with great concern about how this institution, this great American institution, has been run and how American taxpayer money has been handled.
But you're going back through and checking each one of these loans and these grants to make sure there was no stealing, aren't you?
We're looking at that, and yeah, my blood pressure is rising right now just thinking about what we have seen and what did happen at the department.
And you're going to tell some of these boondoggles no, aren't you?
That's correct.
And it's rare that I'm speechless. But I want to be sure I understood. The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion, not million, $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
It is correct and distasteful. Confidence undermining.
My God.
I mean, what, Jeff? I mean, what? I mean, this is the kind of stuff that it's, they were so worried about like the big, beautiful bill because they're saying all the cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. Well, the cuts aren't for people who are legitimately getting it. They're for the illegals that have been getting it. So now you have the Dems defending illegals getting benefits. You have them defending. They're on the wrong side of every issue. You recently had the South African president, and now they're saying, no, those crosses did not represent, dead people. No, they did not represent. I mean, they're on every side of the issue. They take just the opposite side, and it's not a winning formula for them. And I love the fact that they're, the famous phrase, never interrupt your enemy while they're in the process of destroying themselves. And they are destroying themselves in a really good way. I predict that a lot of people that on the Dem side that will just step away from politics. We're already starting to see it, but I think more will fall. I think as the USAID heats up and we start seeing that a lot of that money was funneled not to the politicians, but the politician family members were on the dole and on the take. So you have $93 billion going to institutions that don't even have a business plan, zero financials, nothing. They just asked for the money and they got it. So to me, that seems like another, who are these companies? Who's associated with these companies? Who's really getting this money? And is it tied to politicians or politicians' friends, or it's all interconnected? And the corruption we see always you have to follow the money. And this is just another boondoggle, whatever. It's horrific. There's been a lot of speculation with as to why we have the Jake Tapper writing a book and they're trying to talk about they were duped and it was super unfortunate and they really didn't know anything about it. But But the bigger mission at hand here, Mark Victor Hansen talks about it. He gives kind of a good sort of analogy of what he thinks is going on with this whole surfacing of the book, and Jake Tapper, fake Tapper, as I like to call him. But here we go.
Why are we here? Why did he write a book now? Well, the obvious answer is that Joe Biden has no power. And these media people in Washington they're like moths to a flame. They gravitate to power. And when you don't have power, you don't have friends, and there's no downside in telling the truth. Why didn't Jake Tapper write this a year ago? Because he knows what would have happened. Somebody in the White House would have called up and said, Tapper, no one from CNN is going to get a seat at a press conference. There's not going to be any CNN interviews. So he backed down. And now, in a very cowardly fashion, now he comes out and he is blaming the White House cover-up. But what he doesn't tell us is the White House cover-up would have been impossible had not CNN, MSNBC, PBS, NBC, ABC, CBS all conspired with the White House staff to not just downplay Biden's cognitive decline, but attack people. Bottom line, they had more interest in protecting this left-wing administration who was using this waxen effigy of Joe Biden. And for someone's purposes, we don't know who was running the country, who was giving him the auto pin executive orders. We don't have no idea who those people are. We have a suspicion it was the Obama crowd. But nevertheless, they didn't care about that. They did not care about that. All they knew is that this was a left-wing agenda and it had to be preserved by any means necessary. And that included lying, covering up, and worst of all, demonizing and attacking people who sought to tell the truth about Joe Biden.
Thoughts on that?
It's an interesting take on it. I mean, we think about the media, that everything that they had done to protect and cover up, and now they realize things are changing. The legal system is correcting itself. People are going to be held accountable for the lies and the cover-ups. The media personality, they're like chameleons. They're actors, they're actresses. They play their part. They read their script. They do what they're told. They get paid their money. They're kind of like monkeys in the zoo. And that's it. So now that they are done with that and the narrative's changing, they've got to change their narrative also, because they got to fit the time. And it's crazy to me that that they forget that all this was on video. It was all recorded. But you know what? The good thing for them, the net positive, is that this culture, this generation that used to be a culture of idiots, is now a culture of short clips, of meme posts, of what you got to watch it in 30 seconds or less, and whatever the flavor of the day is, that's what people know. So a year from now, 2 years from now, they know that everybody's going to forget about what happened. The majority of the populace, they're going to forget about it. They weren't paying attention to begin with, that close of attention. And so there's always going to be that major disconnect. And I believe that, that's what they count on. On our side of it, obviously, there's a lot of people on the, conservative side that are hyper focused on the media and the news and, paying attention to what's going on. But again, the next thing's going to come up. People are going to forget about it. They won't even remember who he is, and he'll go back on to his TV show and he'll keep doing whatever he's doing, and low ratings, no ratings, good ratings. It doesn't even matter. But they're going to forget. They're going to forget that he lied during the Biden administration, because again, the flavor of the day, people are going to forget about it. But they're taking advantage of this culture, again, which was, and I always reflect back to the video culture, because people are so tied to what they saw on TV that it was all about TV. Now it's more, social media. I don't, how do you, pen that as a social media idiot? I don't know exactly how that all ties together, but we're all tied up in that. And the sound bites that used to be on TV are now, they kept getting shorter, 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 shorter. And now people won't even research. You know, we've got the most powerful tool in our history in our pocket, you know, between AI and Google and everything else. You know, people are walking around with this phone in their pocket, and they still will only look at a soundbite versus taking 2 more seconds to research it further. And that includes the reporters, so-called reporters, you know, these media people.
Yeah, well,
they won't even research it. You know, they're still calling XRP Ripple, for God's sake.
Yeah, and they're still putting up Litecoin on the bottom screen.
Right.
So, you know, we always harken back, you know, when you get older, you say like, well, when we were young, we had this, we had that, and you can talk about how technology's changed and evolved over time. Well, some guy put up a post on X the other day that made me really kind of laugh, because it's something I wouldn't have considered, because it was just the way you did things. He said, you know, our kids, our grandkids, our kids, our grandkids are going to laugh at us, because when we used to try to find information, we went to the internet and we typed in a question, and then it came back with all these blue links and multiple pages, and we had to click through the blue links to see if which one was the actual answer. Like with AI, like I rarely use Google anymore. Everything I do is AI. It can search internet, but it can retrieve the answer, right? And sometimes you have to double check it. But it's so funny. It's like, yeah, we were like totally, oh, that's fine. Yeah, you get in the first 10 are advertising links. So those are people just buying space. So then sometimes that pushes it to the second page. But we're like totally fine with that. Now with AI, is you ask a question, it gives you the answer, you know. And even like on my property, I take a picture of a tree. I don't know what tree it is, and I just say, what kind of plant is it? It'll give me the whole genus, species, of this and that, what kind of sunlight it requires. I mean, I can't find that by going to Google. I have to go through 30 sources to try to figure out where that's at. You know, it's remarkable,
dude. It's so insane with the Chat GPT when you put the camera on and you have an interactive conversation with it. I was in Home Depot. I was fixing the bathroom wall. That some of the tiles came off. There was some water behind it, so I had to tear the tiles off. Then I had to go and get cement board, cut out the cement board, put in the new cement board, and then so I'm asking, as I'm at Home Depot, I'm asking questions about, you know, should I get this cement? You know, what kind of grout should it be? You know, how do you seal the grout? And it's giving, and I'm showing it what I'm looking at. And it's like, yeah, that one is what I recommend. And here's why. And I'm like, should I do this one versus this one? They're like, yeah, this is going to be the faster route for you. You know, so I'm going through that. And then yesterday at work, we're having a conversation about a nonprofit organization. And we're like, oh, we think one of these companies out there was a nonprofit organization. And so we're on there, we're asking about, you know, setting up, if you were to set up a nonprofit versus profit status, what does that entail? And we're like, well, what about this company? And it's like you're having a conversation with someone that has every bit of information in their brain at all times. And its response was immediately, oh, such and such is a profit organization, and here's what they're in, here's what they do. And we're like, well, what about this one? Oh no, that one's also a profit organization. And it's just like boom, 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 like the responses. And you're sitting there having a conversation with it, not typing anything, not doing anything, just talking to it.
I had a long drive the other day, and I was brainstorming doing some brainstorming with it. I was like, hey, I want you to come up with some names for this. I'm looking for this, and you know, and a branding type of scenario. And it was like, okay, now I want you to run through them. When you run through it, I'm going to tell you which ones to mark, because we're going to come back to those. Okay, mark that one. Okay, I marked that one. Okay, I marked that one. Okay, tell me the ones you marked. Okay, I marked these ones. Okay, now here's what we're going to do with these ones. And I'm having like this conversation, 20 minutes in the car, just blah, 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 talking to it, talking back to me. It is really remarkable. I see that XRP Ranger says Grok is better. Grok's better for some things. You got to know. I still think GPT is stronger. 4.0 at least. 4.0 is really strong. And also too, sometimes Grok can get a little bit carried away. Grok is maybe a little bit stronger in searching the internet. It's really better breaking down posts on X. I will get a long
really
thread.
In depth too, right?
And I'll say like, hey, break this
information.
Well, sometimes I don't have time to read a whole. It's a thread of like 25 panels. I'm like, throw the whole panel in there. I go, break this down, summarize it for me, and make it easy to understand. And it bullet points it, and I go, okay, great. I read that because I don't have time to go and run through the whole thing to figure out what someone's trying to say. Byron Donalds, who's a gubernatorial candidate for governor here in the state of Florida, here he is talking about Biden here. Just land some good points here. And yeah, this is our next governor right here, man.
Definitely,
and future president.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
We need to listen to what Axios reporter Alex Thompson had to say about the inner circle controlling Biden at the end of his term. Watch this.
The people that were in charge were Mike Donilon, Steve Ricchetti, Bruce Reed, Anthony Bernal, the First Lady's chief of staff, the First Lady, and Annie Tomasini. Those were the people that saw him the most and that had the most control over what he was doing. And
well, also too, I know that Mark Victor Hansen, if I get the name right, thanks Art for correcting me. Victor David Hansen. I always say Mark Victor, but it's Victor David Hansen. I don't know why I get Mark Hansen, but it's Victor David Hansen is his name. He corrected me, Victor David Hansen. What he's not aware of is a whistleblower has come out about the auto pen. So, and these guys are sort of naming names here too, the people that were closest to them. But this is all this is directed towards Trump, because now we have to be transparent. You see, now we have to have all medical records. We have to have us, so we don't get duped again. This is nothing to do with Biden, really. This is them, trying to let themselves off the hook. But let's listen in.
his day-to-day.
Well, clearly, Congressman, he is naming names. And we have the Washington Post columnist, Sally Quinn, accusing former First Lady of elder abuse. What do you say to that, Congressman? Elder abuse.
It is elder abuse. It is. There's no doubt about that. And all of these officials that were in the Biden White House, as far as I'm concerned, they need to come in front of the Oversight Committee, because questions need to be answered. Last thing I will say on this is, depending on when the president truly was not in control of his mental faculties, a lot of the stuff that he did as president, in my view, should be invalidated. And the reason why is because you can't use an auto pen to run the country. It has to be from the mental capabilities and the physical capabilities of the person elected to be commander-in-chief. And so if Joe Biden could not execute the duties of his office, then why are we living under a lot of the decisions that was made by the Biden White House? So there's a lot of investigations that need to occur on this matter. This is a major scandal, in my view, the biggest one in presidential history. We can now put Watergate to bed because the auto pen is now in front.
That's right about that too.
That's huge. And that's everything right there. If we have anything that had been pushed through and signed that was done by someone that was not mentally competent, that means that other people are pulling the strings and we're orchestrating it. That's it. That's all you need to hear. That's all you need to say.
Jeff, the pardons, I mean,
validate it.
Thank you for telegraphing who we should go after, because the pardons, why were you giving out pardons? You're basically telling us you broke the law. All those pardons too. Those were auto pens.
Go after all.
This is going to crash. This makes. People forget what Watergate was. Watergate was more about a cover up than anything else. It was a break-in, CIA break-in, by the way. Stole some stuff from the Democrat, and it was the cover up is what got Nixon in trouble. And a lot of and again here I'll say this too. Sometimes the cover up is worse than the actual crime. In this case, the crime is pretty bad, but the cover-up is pretty rough too. So it's going to be kind of an equal. They're kind of equally sharing some things here. Adam Shifty Shift, to see what a loser he is. Someone put together this compilation of him just to show you how he is just one of the dumbest people in Congress. And now he's a senator, and he moved up from the House last year. But here's him bloviating on and completely wrong again. Here he is.
To us today to say no. No to this nomination. No to Pam Bondi. RFK is not the best or the brightest. He will not bring back Camelot or make America healthy again. Tulsi Gabbard is a walking 5-alarm fire and must be rejected. Must be. No one is a bigger or more dangerous sycophant than Kash Patel. This political hack does not deserve to be in this building.
Make America Great Again. I thought that was a good compilation.
Man, look at who it's coming from. That guy, Shifty Shift.
Well, he's in a whole lot of trouble too. I don't think that guy makes it either. I think that guy would be kicked out. But I wanted to play this clip, Jeff, because it's kind of so you've got Congressman Tim McBride, who's basically a man who pretends he's being a woman. He wants to now make policies for childcare. This is the man who read the LGBTQ books to children, teaching them how to be a good transgender. And so the question is, would you feel comfortable listening to this dude about what's good for your kids? So I don't think this groomer should be anywhere near kids, but let's listen to this.
Everyone, Sarah McBride here in Wilmington, Delaware at Brew.
Yeah, Sarah McBride is the female name, but it's a dude.
Is that? Where?
This is the Congresswoman. Well, it's actually, this is Tim McBride. She says Sarah McBride, but it's actually a dude pretending to be a woman. It's a Congresswoman, man, woman, thing, whatever, she, they, he, whatever it is. But this is the one. I mean, listen, the amount of mental illness. First of all, that should disqualify you from the opportunity. Look at them all standing there, like they're all women. They're all pretending they're women, and it's a dude. Listen to the voice, dude.
Sarah McBride here in Wilmington, Delaware at Brouhaha, alongside Representative Chrissy Houlihan from Pennsylvania and our wonderful Democratic whip, Catherine Clark from Massachusetts. We just concluded the third in a series of New Dems on the Road roundtables. This roundtable on the topic of the care economy. I'm proud to be the chair of the New Dems Care Economy Task Force, and we had a wonderful conversation with healthcare providers, small business owners, labor leaders, parents, child care providers about the importance of federal action to expand access to paid family and medical leave and affordable quality child care. I'd love to hear my colleagues' thoughts and reflections on the conversation. Representative Houlihan?
It's a pleasure to be here. Just up.
Yeah, we don't want you anywhere, I think. So she is out of Delaware, but this is the kind of thing like this should preclude you from actually serving. And then this dude,
I don't get it.
This dude's been floating around the internet, but he has a message for white people, Jeff. I want you to listen in. And notice how he just singles out white people. He doesn't single out other people, especially black people, because he get his ass kicked. But he singling out white people that he's coming for them. Here we go. Ready? Listen to this.
All right. White people, if you are white and you're listening to this, listen very closely.
Listen.
Lately, I've been seeing many of you complaining about Islam.
Okay.
And immigration and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've been complaining.
And I'm going to separate the white people in two categories.
Please.
The Americans, Canadians, and Australians do not count because they are white people that live in a country that's not theirs. You guys have.
There's first mistake. Let's I can see Jeff's face already. Here's the first mistake.
Invaded those lands from the rightful owners. So when you guys get back to
okay, Mr. Righteousness, you're gonna come and correct everything, right? Dude,
wait,
you go back in any country's history and you will find that they are not the original. They are not the original owners. And if you want to look at the slave trade was much bigger in parts of Europe than it was, and before it even migrated to Africa. I mean, you want to go back to Egypt. Yeah, go back to Egypt, the slave trade. I mean, it's like you got to do your history, man. You got to search. So. But anyway, let's listen into this, like his so-called message here, Jeff, because here it comes.
Europe, then we can talk. But for the European white people complaining about immigration and Islam, first.
By the way, he just want to let you know he wants us all to go back to Europe, Jeff. That's his point.
I want to tell you that Islam is going to take over every single square inch of the globe.
It's not.
And you guys might think that it's going to be us, dark-skinned people, that are going to take over. No, it's going to be your own people. As you can see how fast Islam is growing, in the next 10 to 15 years, every white person is going to have a Muslim member in his family. Nowadays, you see white Europeans with blue eyes and blonde hair reverting back to the truth because they have finally seen the truth. And the thing is, there's nothing you guys can do to stop it. You guys can hate Islam as much as you want, and I want to thank the Western media for spreading Islam. A lot of weak-minded Muslims think that the media is picking on us and bullying us, but really and truly the Western media is working with us. They have succeeded in spreading Islam, but intentionally. And a lot of people did not know about Islam, but nowadays.
Anyway, it's more of the same drivel over and over again. But he's saying that.
What motivates these people? Like, what is it?
Mental illness.
They're so emotionally involved in this whole idea of conquest, of global conquest. And the thing is, though, and whether he goes to his mosque or doesn't, there's, a lot of issues, that are, like they look at, maybe there'll be an isolated, violent incident. They'll say, oh, it was isolated. It's not back connected to something through the network. And then it comes to find out that he was going to some mosque, and they have speakers that have extreme ideology, and they promote everything that he's talking about. Or they're, the head of the mosque talks about that, and it's from the top all the way down. Then all of a sudden, this guy goes off and does something, and they're like, oh, he did it on his own. I'm like, can't you back work the connection and tie all these pieces together? It's, pretty straightforward, but they're so filled with rage, and you look at this objective. But the problem is that he's right to a point where it has been spreading throughout Europe, and Europe has allowed it to happen, right? Because you also have a lot of, people within Europe that have become atheists. They've forgotten about their religion. They've forgotten about, God. They've moved away from Christian, roots, or whatever it might have been. And so you see that. And so now these, they're more susceptible. You see it within their politics, their political infrastructure as well, that, that's why they have allowed all of this to come into their countries unfettered, but at some point, people will say, look, this isn't what we want, right? Free society. Why is it that people from all over the world, every country in the world, they want to come to the United States? Because they come here because they want the freedom, they want the dream, they want to be able to build and be prosperous. That's why people come to this country. They don't come here from all these countries because they want what they used to have in their countries. However, that being said, there's large groups of them that are coming to this country as they come into Europe, specifically for the purpose of conquest. And they have been seeded throughout the world, and they have been funded with billions of dollars to seed all parts, because they're seeding it from the education system. We see it within the U.S. education system. Misinformation has been spread throughout the education system. Obviously happened over in Europe as well. And these people run around, they just want to put their head in the sand and not acknowledge what's really happening. So that guy, is he crazy? Is he outlandish? Probably. Is he telling the truth? He probably is, because there's a whole bunch of people that think just like him. That's their truth.
Jeff,
I'm not saying that I'm not saying there'll be ultimate conquest. I'm just saying that that's his truth, and there's a lot of people like him that have that truth.
Well, no, it's the only truth
that they're going for conquest.
It's the only truth because it's in the Quran. Okay, so if you want to go to the Islam holy book, the Quran, it talks about domination. It talks about conquer. Okay, so this isn't people want to ignore it, and the thing is, Sharia law is incompatible with Western living. Treating women like third-class citizens and like animals and dogs, not allowing them to be educated, not allowing them to drive. This is not a civilized society. This is a society that has some severe issues, and keeping women, as akin to an animal, a possession. That is not a civilized world. And the whole idea of Sharia law, and they try to implement it here in cities. No, there is no such thing as Sharia law. There's the Constitution of the United States, and that is the law. And people are like, well, ban Sharia law. It's already banned. It's already banned. There's no anything that's going to trump the U.S. Constitution or the laws in this country. But to me, it's like, listen, I mean, it's kind of like when these people tell you that, hey, we're going to kill you and dominate you, and we're going to destroy you. And you're like, I probably don't mean it. I probably got that. That's
Ali G.
Ali G is in the house. Look at this. This is a barbaric. Yeah, it is barbaric. But the thing about it is, it's not really.
We need to go back to Australia.
It's not there. Yeah, well, need to come for sure. It's just not. It's not compatible with Western, civilization, culture, and putting people the best, especially the way they treat women, and of course, there's no. You want to talk about tolerance? Tolerance. There's no tolerance. You're gay, they kill you. That's it. So there is no in between. Like, hey, someone could live their life out as a gay person and want to be gay. Great. You want to come to the United States, be a gay person. But you're not going to get killed. You're not going to get stoned. If a woman takes off her hijab and then she gets stoned to death, and if you've ever seen a stoning, it's the most unbelievably cruel to kill somebody by throwing, and they're not stones, they're giant rocks, and getting hit in the head and just watching somebody die slowly and barely move anymore. It's, you know, I've seen women being stoned. You've seen, you know, gays being tossed off buildings. I'm sorry, man. It's not a compatible thing. And to me, I even doubt if it's a religion, because religion is all is based in peace and love. As Ringo Starr would say, peace and love, peace and love. You would have peace and love. And you cannot have domination where you are going to just kill people that don't believe you. I don't know if that qualifies for religion. It's like, Jeff, I'm starting a new religion, but if you don't believe what I'm telling you, I'm going to kill you. It's like, well, that sounds a little bit outrageous shit. Well, that's what we have. That's what it is. It's not something that's so. And again, the thing about it is I know plenty of people and have friends that, you know, that are you know, that are Muslims, and they don't have this way of acting or being, and they're not violent, and they're some of the most peaceful people. But again, their interpretation of what they read in the Quran is very different. But what's physically and what's actually in the Quran talks about this, but they do not. I mean, especially most of the Muslims I know, they're humble, you know, beautiful people, and I just hate to see everything hijacked by this violent part of we're coming for you, we're gonna kill you, like, what is all that about? It's just too much. Getting stoned on a free night out. I wanted to put this one up. Jim D said 72 virgins beats the Viking idea of dying with a sword in hand. There you go. Yeah, I mean, that's the promise on the other side, like 72. And like, who came up with a 72 number? It's like, let's see, 65. Nah, it doesn't seem like enough. I mean, 70. 71. 72 seems about right.
The right number.
72 seems pretty good, right? It seems like 72 virgins, like 72 virgins.
73 would just be too much.
I think 73 is overboard, right? You gotta, like, it's like, like, where did the 72 number come from? You know, the significance of that. I don't know where that how that actually happened. That, you know, what actually caused that. It's hard to understand. Well, Crypto Whelp survived his surgery Thursday. Thank God for that. Glad you came through that with flying colors. Desiree DeBella says all Abrahamic religions are based on geocoding non-believers. There you go. That's a good point.
I'm trying to see if there's a number related back to it, but I'm not sure.
A lot of symbolism in the Bible.
The number 72 is sometimes interpreted as a maximum limit.
Oh, the limit. That's it. That's your cutoff point. So maybe not. So you have so there's like, it's like when you get a sale and they say like you can save up to 50%, but when you actually go to the sale, it's like 7% off. But there's one thing that's hidden somewhere, and that's 50% off. So you up to, so it's like they should have a qualifying statement that it's up to 72 somewhere in there.
I'm not sure exactly. Yep.
We stranded the Dirks in Australia. Remember that? That was a good time. Stranded Dirks. Good time. Oh, fantastic time that was. Man, God, we had a great time in Australia. I don't think we're going back anytime soon, though, Jeff. I don't think that's happening. I don't think we're gonna 71 versions and one Pro. Just saying.
All right, how many Yetis do we have?
We have 22, and it's time to do the drawing, Jeff.
All right, so let's roll this, and then
Allie, did you type in Yeti? Did you type in Yeti, Allie? I don't know if Allie did type Yeti.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
You need to type Yeti because we have to get 23 or 24 in here.
Yeah, all right, well, let's play this, and we'll get someone to type something.
Let's do. Come on, type in Yeti.
We're the Badass Yeti from the Blue Tribe. Word of the day, Yeti. Hey, you got your Zaman wallet ready? Why? 'Cause this is gonna be epic. It's time to claim your legendary Blue Tribe Yeti of the clan Titan. On the chain, badass yetis, born for battle, made for legend. Claim yours or be forgone.
Badass Yetis on the chain. That's a new one. Oh, there you go.
It was badass. Oh,
Ali
sweet.
G, let us know when you're coming. Let us know when
Oh,
you're
that's
going to be
awesome.
there.
Yeah. Look forward to seeing you when you're here.
Miami,
Awesome.
Miami, Florida,
Sweet.
Miami. Let us know. Fingers crossed. Okay, here we go. Ray the Moss. Here we come on, XRP.
You got to hit the
5
like
years
in
now.
order to have a chance of winning.
Yeah, if you don't hit the like.
Yeti, and you have to hit the thumbs up.
Yeah, let's
And
get
you have to
this rig.
subscribe.
Let's get the rig pull rolling. Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Eurovision Yetis. That's what it sounds like.
Yetis.
That's what it sounds like.
That was totally the Eurovision version of it.
That was the Eurovision.
Style. That was the Eurovision.
Totally nailed it, Jeff Sutton.
Oh
there
my
you go.
God,
Beautiful.
that's so funny. That was
Beautiful.
totally the Eurovision.
But even AI can misdirect. Yeah, that's true. It can misdirect. That's why you gotta, trust but verify type of thing. So we got 24 in here, guys. We are going to go ahead and going to pull this thing
over here too. I want to show you guys that this isn't just any Yeti.
No,
it is. It's not just any Yeti.
It is any Yeti.
It is number 5. Badass Yeti number 5. Number
his name?
5. His name is Hugin.
Hugin.
He's a hooligan. He is a titan. He is
a titan.
Number 5.
He's ready to blast
number
off.
5.
Do some damage. 4.0 in damage. All right. Jeff, cue up the music. Put the Badass Yeti tune on, and I'll click this puppy away. All right, here we go. Ready? Let's go. Go.
On the chain.
Rob McKeon is the winner of the Badass Yeti. Is Rob McKeon here? Rob McKeon, you got to chime in and say, I'm here. And that means you're getting your Zaman wallet number ready for us to do the transfer. And if you don't say that, then we redraw.
Claim it.
So we want to make sure that you are here. Let's see. Rob McKeon wins. Are you?
He's not here.
Wow, that was fast.
He's here. Rob McKeon.
Rob McKeon, good winner, big winner.
And
we're also going to need you're going to need your X handle so we can tag you when we talk about this big giant win we've come down with. Rob, congratulations, Rob. Winner of Hugin or whatever his name is.
Hugin.
Are we going to give away some land today too, Jeff?
Oh, we should give away some land also.
Let's give away some land in the Expectorverse.
So hang on a minute.
Once we give this away, I will queue it up and we'll put the land up there, and then you'll be just Expector.
Yes.
Put land because it'll be easier to
make sure that
talk about.
Rob McKeon puts up his Zaman wallet address. People look out for that. I'm typing some stuff in here.
Oh boy, look at that, man!
Track this.
Rigged. Look at Mike's already jumped on he's already doing land. He's not taking any chances. He's like, I'm land. Legendary's on the land. We got Reborn John.
Case.
Got Ray the Musk. Crypto Whelp is in here. He says it's coming. He's getting it. All right, that's good.
I'm trying to get to YouTube here.
And we're gonna need your we're giving away some land in the Expectorverse. This is awesome.
Expector.
And let's tag the location on the post this time. We left that out last time.
Oh,
yeah, man. Yeah, thanks for coming by and supporting, on the chain. Love the guys.
The chain. Bad.
My dog Yeti's going crazy right now. You can't probably hear him barking, but someone might be at the door and he's
lots of land in there. Look at all the land.
Yeah, I don't know if I told the story. Many of you probably know it, but I've got a golden doodle that's a year and a half old. And when my wife's dog, and she wanted to name it, and I was like, "Come up with the name." And she goes, "I have the name." She named him Yeti, and she goes, "He looks like one of those Yeti creatures." Yeah.
Rob said he has his wallet ready. Where's his? Where's
right there? It's in there.
It's in there.
Yeah, it's right there. You got to go. Yeah, I see it right here.
Man, how come I can't see it? Hang on a minute. I got to go back to top chat. Oh, there it is. Sweet.
Yeah, and also, Rob, we're going to need your X. Are you on X? Because we need your X handle. Put your X handle in there.
All right, here we go. I'm going to transfer this bad boy over to you right now. Hitting transfer. And
in transfer, and here it goes.
Processing.
Listen,
Rob,
we need your
common wallet. So
we need your X handle, Rob.
Get your X in there.
Put your X handle and drop it in there.
Scanning.
Drop the whole. You can drop the whole URL if you want.
Slide to accept.
Let's go.
Print, and it's verifying it's been transferred. And Rob, make sure you claim this. You now have it. Hugin, Badass Yeti number 5 is now yours. Look at that. Chad is number 2 in the community competition. Number 2. Charles is number 3.
Look at all kinds of celebs walking in here. Crypto is here as well. Look at that. Check it. Check. Okay, guys, you got to put landed if you want to win an X Spectre, land in the X Spectre verse. This is in, where is this? Marina City. You want to put that land up there, Jeff? We'll put one up there.
Find it.
But we have 13 in here, guys. So you got to type land if you want a chance to win some awesome land in the X Spectre verse that we are giving away, courtesy of Dirk. Thank you, Ali G, for the reminder. But Dirk has generously gifted a couple to us, and we are giving them away. And we will be.
All right, here we go. I found it.
We got 14 in there right now, so you have to go ahead and type in land if you want to be able to win. Reborn John is homeless. That's not good. We got to get you a plot of land in the X Spectre verse. So there you go. Fred Hoffman chiming in. Cash Philosophy. Okay, we got 16. We're slowly building it. But if you want to win some land,
Hillside City, parcel
Hillside City, there it is.
You get number 4 plots. It's in zone 8 of Hillside City. So
there you go.
There it is,
Hillside City, baby.
Here's all the information that you need to know about it. This is Hillside City.
Look on the description again.
X Spectre Land NFT R1Z8P224 is located in Hillside City.
Zone 8.
Zone 8 is comprised of parcel 224 and the following plots: 6240, 6243, 6250, and 6253. Locate this NFT directly on the map here.
There you go.
Let's see if we can open this map. Section 8. Section 8 housing.
Section 8 Section 8 housing. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Nope. You have to log in.
You guys can go there and purchase your waterfront too.
Took a lot.
We have no AI advertisement for the land. We do not have an AI advertisement for the land.
It's us. No, we'll create.
But that's not our. That's yeah. We probably should. The land.
We should.
The land. What? What?
The land. The land.
All right, so
the land is for real.
Did you put the URL in there? Did you put it in there?
And where?
You were going to go open that URL.
Yeah, it didn't open. I have to sign in, then go through.
Oh, yeah. You got to sign in. Yeah, right on.
Then I got to open the app, and then once I open the
app, let's go, guys. We have 17. You have one more chance to type in land, LAND. If you type that in, you have a shot at winning this land in X Spectre verse. Ready? I'm going to pull this. Let's see. What can we put up there? We don't have an X Spectre tune.
Oh,
we'll just have to go. We'll just have to go dry here. Ready, guys? So let's put it up.
On the chain. Badass Yetis.
Right, here we go. I'm pulling it. We have 17 in there. All right. So here we go. We have 18, and I am now pulling it. Let's see what we do here. Let's see who's going to win. This awesome 4 plots in X Spectre verse. Let's go. Badass Yetis.
On the chain. Badass Yetis.
Charles Tom Morello. We know what that means.
Charles is a big winner. Winner. Charles.
Winner. Charles, you win the land and X Spectre verse.
Who won the land the other night?
I don't know who won it the other day. So Charles, big winner. Big winner.
But I did not.
Charles. I know Charles is here.
What happened?
Because he just chimed in here. So do we have his wallet already? You may already have his wallet.
I'm sure we do.
Yeah, Charles is here. And then Charles, drop your X handle in there as well, so we know. The next land baron, first land win for Charles Tamarello. So we're going to need your X handle. I know we've tagged you before, but it'll help us in not trying to find it. So
Land Baron. First land win. Let's
First
go,
land
Charles.
win. Yes, indeed. Charles, the big winner here.
Eric said, Charles, you should play the lottery. He should play
Charles
the lottery.
Freaking
and
amazing.
He should go play blackjack. This guy, man, he's just like a
winner chicken dinner, man.
A magnet for
yeah, right.
And awesome.
Damn, Charles.
All right. Do we have his
Yeah, it's Grunge 777.
What is it?
Grunge 777. I'll drop it in there.
Grunge 777.
See, I just dropped it in there. Grunge 777.
Grunge.
Yeah, nothing loads.
Got it.
Almost nothing's loading on my X. It's all messed up.
Let me see if I spelled it right. Oh, I put a D in it. Hang on a minute. Okay.
Dude, put it in there so you can copy it. GRUNG Grunge 777. Beautiful.
All right. Oh wait. Now we need his thing. Let me see if I can find it.
This thing. You know the thing.
You know the thing. You know that.
You know that wallet thing.
Oh shoot. You know what I forgot to do is put Rob's over here. Shoot.
Wouldn't feel bad. It's good to be a winner,
Charles.
dude. Winners.
Here we go, Charles. Here we go, Charles. Gonna send this bad boy over to you.
Congrats. Address is in.
His address is in.
Well, he says, I feel bad. Mike's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. I feel bad. No, you don't.
No, you don't. You're winning.
You're winning, dude. When you're winning, it's good. Hashtag winning.
Charles.
There's a lot of winning going on, which is a very good
I'm gonna
thing.
grab this just in case. You know, it's always bad. Imagine if I accidentally pasted somebody else's address in his, and then they got it.
That would not be good, Jeff. That would not be a good thing.
So here we go. Scanning away. Charles Land Baron Tamarello.
Trump winning. Tired of winning.
There you go. And it's on its way. You are now almost the proud owner. You are now the proud owner.
Yes.
Of the land.
Indeed.
Expector land. Expector.
Indeed. Well, that's it, guys. We will be back here. It's a holiday weekend. It is Memorial Day. This is when we remember the people who fought and died for the country so we could live free lives. And that a lot of people look at it as just a barbecue day or an extra day off of work on Monday, but that's the significance of the holiday. We will be back tomorrow night with some more conversation about crypto and other stuff.
Of course, you have his info. It's every other day.
Every other day. Well, we did institute a new rule which says you can only win, but he has not won land. So
that's right.
You can win once a month. You can win once a month was what we all settled on. And so, and Charles was cool about it. So, but he has not won land. So listen, that means if he wins tomorrow night, the land, but if he wins on Tuesday, then it's good because it's a new, or next week because it'll be a new month. So,
oh, come on, rigged.
You can't say it's rigged, dude. You win. Laurel, a little bit late. That's okay. That's all right.
Laurel's late. And
Mark, celebration. Ouch. Okay.
You know what,
guess what? We're about.
If you're not here, you can't win.
We're about to file you there, Chad. So there you go.
Rob, thank you to our armed services.
Yes, thank you.
Far and wide.
Yeah. Eric, don't feel bad for Charles. God wants you to win, so you can congrats Charles Charmer. There you go. All right. Belgium is out. We're all out of here, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow night on the podcast. And that's all we have. You guys have a great, wonderful weekend. If you're over there, I bid you good night. If you're over in Australia, New Zealand, I know it's a late one for you guys. So I wish you all the best and a continued phenomenal weekend. Happy Sunday for you guys. And we will be back tomorrow night. And this is all we got. So we'll see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.